And first at 5, we start with a crash along Loop 1604 that left one driver dead this afternoon. This happened just before 2 p.m. today on South 1604, not far from Highway 87. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office tells us that one car crashed head-on into another before then rolling over. Deputies say one of those drivers was killed there at the scene. No word on the other driver or any potential passengers inside either car. The Sheriff's Office is still investigating what led up to this crash. Also new this hour, will San Antonio delay or dive in on a deal to fund a $1.3 billion Spurs arena? Those opposing options will go head-to-head on Thursday at City Council after the mayor and several council members pushed to add them to the agenda last night. City Hall reporter Garrett Berger just finished up a news conference with the mayor. Okay, Garrett, you're outside City Hall. There's been a lot of back and forth on Project Marvel in the last several days, even before this latest development. So delaying and diving in seems that cannot happen at the same time. What's the thinking behind either vote here?
The new Spurs Arena is a key part of Project Marvel, the city's plans for a larger sports and entertainment district around Hemisphere. Now, city staff and the Spurs have been hammering out a non-binding term sheet for funding the new arena. And now they're at a point where it's up for the city council to review it. Now, some council members want to move ahead, but Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones doesn't think the city has all the info it needs. Now, Jones has scheduled a Thursday vote to pump the brakes like she's been pushing for. If a council majority agrees with her, they won't vote on terms until a new, quote, independent economic report is done. And there have been multiple meetings to get community feedback. The city's received 2 reports already, but Jones points out that the city's consultant didn't even analyze the impact of the Spurs Arena. It looked at the summary findings of a separate report done by a consultant hired by the Spurs. But Jones was clearly outnumbered when she first brought the idea up earlier this month, and it's hard to say if anything has changed.
I think what's important is folks are not recognizing just how fast some folks are wanting this to move, right? I think folks are expecting that there's going to be more public engagement. But people pushing to have a vote on August 21st, the term sheet wasn't shared until this morning. You had some council members saying, I'm ready to vote on that. Vote on what? You haven't even seen it.
After the pause was added to the agenda, the city manager said he'd also heard from 5 council members who wanted to vote on the term sheet. No matter what way the city council goes, voters all over Bexar County will decide on the county share of funding for the arena at the ballot box this November.
I told the city manager that as quickly as we can get the details of this deal to the citizens so that they can have 75, 80 days to review it. All of us council folks are going to go into our districts, show our citizens the deal, talk to them about it, again, so they can make an informed decision when they go to the polls in November.
So what are the terms? Some of the basics include up to $489 million from the city and up to $311 million from the county. At least $500 million would come from the team, who would also cover any overages. Now, we've got a more detailed breakdown of the term sheet and the full term sheet itself so you can read through it, make up your own mind. We've got that on our website. Just find this story on KSAT.com. At City Hall, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, we'll follow it. Thank you, Garrett. A 2-year-old girl found wandering outside wasn't much safer inside her family's home. That's according to Bexar County Sheriff's investigators who arrested the toddler's parents. They say the family lived in deplorable conditions. Katrina Weber shows us why one neighbor says this all seems like a case of deja vu.
There's no holding back emotions as 33-year-old Alexandria Pruitt follows her husband in handcuffs into the Bexar County Jail. Sheriff's deputies arrested her and 36-year-old Benita Lopez IV on a child endangerment charge. They say it started outside their home in the Southton Meadows subdivision. Pruitt's 2-year-old daughter, dirty and disheveled, alone on the streets. But what was inside their home also raised alarm. Deputies described filthy conditions, human and animal waste, piles of trash, and rotting food scattered about.
Sometimes I'll see inside, you know what I mean? From what I could see outside, there was nothing crazy.
That neighbor who wanted to hide his identity says he never noticed any mess, but did see deputies Sunday morning.
It was a bit of a shock, but it was nice to know that they were here.
The sheriff's report says Pruitt didn't notice her child was missing until deputies were at her home. She told them she fell asleep with her daughter lying next to her. It says relatives believe the toddler got out through an open door. While finding deputies up and down the street came as a surprise to that neighbor, he says what brought them here really wasn't that surprising. He says a few years ago, he found a different child wandering the streets alone from that same house.
And we didn't call nobody because we found the parents and everything was okay. The child was clean.
Investigators believe the family, though, had been living in those filthy conditions for months. Child Protective Services says the girl likely will be placed in another home. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Now, Bexar County Sheriff's investigators say there could be even more charges to come in this case. They say inside that home, they also found an elderly relative with open sores lying on a blood-stained mattress, among other filth. We'll keep you updated if and when we hear more from the sheriff's office. Cleanup, meantime, is underway after a massive fire involving spilled chemicals on the north side. Those flames started just about noon today at a factory that refurbishes airplane parts along Wurzbach Parkway and Nacogdoches Road. On top of that, San Antonio firefighters say hundreds of gallons of hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, highly toxic chemicals, were leaked. Around 100 employees were evacuated before crews quickly got control of those flames. New at 5, a second person has died after a man shot 3 people during a fight in a West Side apartment last week. San Antonio police say charges for 44-year-old Wilfredo Lopez have been upgraded now to capital murder of multiple persons. Lopez shot 3 of his family members last Monday, according to investigators. One of the victims was Lopez's eldest son, 22-year-old Jose Rivera Vasquez, who died from his injuries that night. The second person who has now died has been identified as 28-year-old Annabelle Vasquez. She passed away over the weekend. Details about what led up to this shooting still unclear. According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, Lopez is currently being held in jail on an ICE detainer. Let's turn to the forecast now. Another week in August, and we have some good rain chances to talk about, Adam.
Yeah, not very August-like. The forecast the rest of this week promising rain chances for several days this week. And one day stands out in particular, and that's Thursday. But I want to get to a 30 radar here. You see, we don't have anything, not even a lone pop-up shower. And actually, we're having a hard time even developing some cumulus clouds, which lead to the types of rain we would have in this kind of situation. So it's unlikely, since just looking at the clouds in the sky and lack thereof, it's unlikely we'll have a shower the rest of this afternoon and into the evening. Notice tomorrow it's a different story. We're up to 40% coverage, so scattered in nature from 2 p.m. all the way to 7 p.m. So during the hottest part of the day, the peak daytime heating, that's when we have the best rain chances. But other days stand out. We'll talk about this unique pattern, what's giving us our rain chances, and the latest on Hurricane Erin in a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Adam. Let's take a look at traffic out there right now during this 5 o'clock commute. We've been kind of hopping around different camera views here to check things out in different parts of the city. No major tie-ups to tell you about. Traffic seems to be moving along just fine. People from across the state and even across the country have stepped up to help after the deadly July 4th floods. And tonight, a number of well-known names are doing their part to help our Hill Country neighbors. Our Ernie Zuniga joining us live tonight from the Tobin Center, where the Together for Texas benefit concert gets underway at 7 o'clock. Ernie, this is something that folks can watch right here on KSAT 2, but we are hoping people pack the Tobin to help raise money for flood relief.
Myra, indeed, and there are still some tickets available, and the ceiling essentially price-wise is $50. So you're not going to pay more than $50 for a ticket, which is a pretty good deal considering just Steve Trevino, Gabriel Iglesias, 2 of the top touring comedians in the country, both with local ties. It was shortly, just a matter of days after the July 4th flooding, that Steve Trevino, the comedian, sprang into action. He saw what had happened and went to work calling his famous friends, many of them who you talked about earlier and who are on the back of this T-shirt here, which we're going to show. Lyle Lovett, Bree Bagwell, Los Lonely Boys, of course, Gabriel Iglesias. And he went to work, and he got some of his A-list friends all to come here and be here tonight. The Tobin Center is clad in green, as you might imagine. And incidentally, if you are able to make it here tonight, and again, there are just a few tickets still available, you can purchase one of these fabulous T-shirts right here. They're $15. They're asking credit card only for the shirts, but obviously all the money will go right back to to the Hill Country and those people that so desperately need it right now. But as you mentioned, Myra, the show starts promptly at 7 o'clock. The doors will open at 6 here to the Tobin Center. So the finishing touches being put on. The Vanishing Bees were performing just behind me here a short time ago doing an acoustic set. But they're putting the finishing touches here on the Tobin Center. And after I'm done with you here, I'm going to go visit with Steve Trevino. We'll have that and more coming up in the 6 o'clock hour as we get ready for this fabulous Together for Texas evening that we've been talking about so much. So again, tickets still available if you can make it here in person, under $50. If not, of course, we hope you'll join us tonight live at 7 o'clock on KSAT 12 and, of course, the free KSAT Plus app. But for now, that is the scene from a quiet, for now, Tobin Center downtown. I'm Ernie Zuniga, KSAT 12 News.
Ernie, thank you. I'll be joining you out there at 6 o'clock. We hope it gets a whole lot louder as more people pack the Tobin. Thanks, Ernie. Well, KSAT, as we mentioned, will be broadcasting the Together for Texas benefit concert tonight at 7, right after our 6 o'clock newscast. You can also watch that show on the free KSAT Plus app, like Ernie mentioned, and KSAT.com as well. So because of the benefit concert, some of the ABC programming that normally airs on Monday will be moved to a different time. So Bachelor in Paradise, that will air at 1:35 Tuesday morning, and Are You My First will air at 1:35 on Wednesday, if you want to record those. Still ahead here at 5, San Antonio ISD discussing how to implement the state's ban on cell phones on school campuses. What a phoneless district could look like, up next. And President Donald Trump meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky and an entourage of European leaders today, calling for a stronger stance against Russia in a future peace agreement. The latest on those conversations and what they could mean for a possible end to this war. Next. Ukrainian President Zelensky in Washington today alongside several European leaders for a meeting with President Trump. It comes 3 days after Trump's summit in Alaska with Russia's Vladimir Putin produced no ceasefire and no apparent additional consequences. ABC's Christian Cordero has the latest from the White House.
His last time here ended poorly, but today Ukrainian President Zelensky received a handshake and a warm welcome, suited up for a new round of consequential discussions.
First of all, thank you for the invitation and thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you.
Zelensky's meeting with Trump today is one of two. The White House invitation was extended to a group of European leaders, including British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron. The group is trying to show a united front, supporting Zelensky's stance that ending the war in Ukraine must include security guarantees to prevent Russia from attacking Ukraine again in the future. Trump appears willing to back that request.
We are very happy with President that all the leaders are here, and the security in Ukraine depends on the United States and on you.
After meeting with Putin on Friday, Trump told Zelensky the Russian president is not budging on his demand to keep key regions of Ukraine's territory.
The demand from Putin was the rest of Donetsk, this area here. That is an area about the size of Delaware.
Ultimately, this is a decision that can only be made by President Zelensky and by the people of Ukraine.
Trump and European leaders all vowed severe consequences if Putin left Alaska without agreeing to a ceasefire. It seems Putin did not. Last night, Russian airstrikes hit a residential building in Kharkiv, killing at least 7 Ukrainian civilians. Today, Trump was asked how he will respond.
Will there be severe consequences? Does that change because of
I don't think you need a ceasefire. I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately.
Trump is still trying to arrange a meeting that brings both Russia and Ukraine to the table. Zelensky was left out of the Alaska summit after Putin demanded he meet with Trump one-on-one. Christian Cordero, ABC News, the White House.
Back here at home tonight, San Antonio ISD board members are expected to discuss a new cell phone ban policy for that district. Every district across Texas must implement that policy that bans cell phones in the classroom no later than September 18th to comply with a new state law. We'll have an update for you on what the board members decide tonight on the Night Beat. Also on KSAT Plus, we'll be live streaming this meeting right after the show. It begins at 5:30. All right, look outside with live cam. We talked about good rain chances, Adam, and we're eyeing some specific days for that this week.
Yeah, especially Thursday stands out when we'll probably have the best coverage. But remember how I was saying our lack of clouds earlier? You see there in that live camera shot, not much in terms of the puffy cumulus clouds that then can grow taller and drop rain. So I really would be shocked if we had a shower pop up here between now and sunset. But let's talk about tomorrow and start with tomorrow. We'll have more activity likely to develop on the radar screen, especially after 1 p.m. Notice even as early as 2 o'clock, some scattered activity, downpours dropping, localized 1 to 2 inches, possibly even more in a few neighborhoods over a brief period of time. So the primary concern here is just street flooding, generalized street flooding during the day while people are out driving tomorrow. Now, these will be progressive. They'll move in and move out. But again, quick 1 to 2 and possibly even 3 inches or so here and there. That'll be the exception, but it's still possible in some neighborhoods tomorrow. This happens all the way through sunset. We have these scattered downpours, some lightning and thunder. It's not impossible to get a severe thunderstorm tomorrow, but it's not probable. I'm not ruling it out because we could have some gusty winds within some of the storms, but overall, I think it's mostly just more heavy rainfall. So 40% coverage tomorrow, 20% on Wednesday. Ingredients just aren't as good on Wednesday. By Thursday, we're up to 60% and still that 40% on Friday. So for mid-August, this is unique for South Central Texas to have these opportunities. By Sunday down to 20%, and then this time next week, Monday is going to be quiet. So the upper level heat high, it's starting to build and anchor itself over the Four Corners region of the western U.S. That puts us in this northerly flow aloft, and that northerly flow, it's going to be a little messy, a little dirty, some ripples in the upper level flow, some upper energies, good moisture content with it as well. And also we could even have our own little separate upper level disturbance roll overhead throughout the end of this week and into the upcoming weekend. So that would add to those rain chances. But Bottom line, the best coverage where more than half of us are likely to get rain is on Thursday. Hurricane Erin, Category 4, it's a whopper. Max winds of 140 miles per hour. Now it is heading between the Carolinas and Bermuda, staying out to sea and arcing up and north of Bermuda as it gradually weakens later on this week when it gets into some cooler waters. But this is interesting. You look at the path and the expected wave heights. This is a computer model that takes into account the hurricane, its strength, and then we'll calculate the likely height of the waves. And out to sea here, I mean, 41-foot waves. And we often say these are fish storms because they stay out to sea, but I mean, they also impact shipping lanes and shipping channels. But even along the Carolina coastline, you could have 15, 16-foot waves when the center of that hurricane is offshore. It still has some impacts to the coast and can cause some coastal erosion. We did it again. 101. It's our 16th triple-digit day this year. Shirts at 100, Eagle Pass 100, Bulverde and Brighton's Backyard 99, Lavernia 103. 98 tomorrow, not as hot because of the increased rain chances. So we'll be upper 90s, west closer to the Rio Grande 100. And then notice the little downturn in temperatures there with rain chances. They go hand in hand, mid-90s most of the week.
Don't mind that. Thank you, Adam. All right, Mary, as we gear up for high school football, we're taking a look at a program that knows success.
Yes, and the big story for Alamo Heights this year is they're experiencing a lot of turnover. Does Ron Ritterman deem this a rebuilding year? And Jordan Westberg coming off of a career Sunday, how he's handling a leadership role in the clubhouse after the break.
I think history is cool, and it develops culture and high expectations, which we all want. Puts a little pressure on you because the expectations around here are that we're going to play football for a long time and be successful at it.
With a 48-5 record since 2021, Ron Ritteman and the Alamo Heights football team expect nothing less than greatness in big board sports. The Mules are projected to defend their District 13 5A D2 title this season, per Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, ahead of Bernie, Victoria West, and Tivy in that order. Now, that's a fair prediction after Alamo Heights' 12-1 regional semifinalists finished last season. However, the program returns just 6 starters across the offense and the defense, seeing stars like now Longhorn Michael Terry III go off to college. So, like most teams would, do the Mules deem this a rebuilding year?
I'm not sure how you label that, to be honest with you. We're excited about it. We lost a good senior class this last year and some really good players, but man, I'm excited about these young players that are getting ready to step in and take their roles. The potential of this team, it's pretty high. They got a pretty high ceiling. It's how fast can we get there?
A lot of the guys that were on the team last year, it was just a great experience to be on there, whether you played or didn't. Just seeing what that team accomplished last year, going undefeated, and winning district.
Well, we have a lot of young guys this year. Last year we had a lot of seniors and we lost a lot of key players, but all these young guys out here, they're all grinding, they're all trying to make their impact, and I like what I see, and I'm really excited for the season.
The Mules not expecting to miss a beat when they open the season at home versus Seguin on the 29th at 7 o'clock.
He got a cutter on 3-1, driven to deep right center field and gone into the visiting bullpen.
I'm not the most talkative guy, and I'm certainly going to continue to be who I am and you know, the character that I built. But that doesn't scare me, the leadership role. Now, being one of the oldest guys in the clubhouse, sounds a little scary.
New Braunfels alum Jordan Westberg owning his role on a young Baltimore team and doing so by accounting for a career-best 5 RBI in a 12-0 win against the Astros yesterday. It's tough going from the young guy to the old guy, but Westberg is doing well with it.
Eventually it happens to all of us.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary. We'll be right back.
The hardest part is I'm a very hurry up, and the hurry up and wait it's getting me.
Yeah.
The community needs us back. We need to be back in here.
An Ingram business owner says it could be months before she can reopen her business after her hair boutique was washed away by the flood. Patty Santos reports that her first focus was helping her neighbors. That story on GMSA tomorrow morning. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on ABC after the 6 o'clock newscast. KSAT is broadcasting Together for Texas at 7 o'clock to raise money for the Hill Country floods. Then we're back at 10 for the night.